The Bismarck Mandan Young Professionals Network is hosting the 2013 Great Plains Summit in Bismarck, North Dakota. The event is scheduled from May 30th until June 1st and will be held at the National Energy Center for Excellence on the campus of Bismarck State College. One of the featured keynote speakers at the event will be Olympic gold medalist and female pole vaulting pioneer Stacy Dragila. We recently spoke to Stacy and asked her what you can expect to learn during her presentation.
It's kind of important for everybody to know kind of where I came from. I came from a small town. I was raised on, a small farm where we had animals, and that was kind of a thing that I enjoyed doing. I was a part of 4-H and FFA, so I raised project steers, and I had a couple dairy heifers that I would show as well. And then I also helped other, friends of mine that had a bigger lineups. They had a bunch of heifers and some bulls, so I would go and help them at other fairs during the summer and just, help them prepare those cows for show and wash them and, feed them and, do the whole thing. So I kind of, grew up, doing things of a heavy nature. I put hay in the barn, in the summertime. And so I was always around, things that made me strong, I guess. And then I had an older brother that was kind of a bully to me. And at the time, it wasn't so great. But I think now I appreciate it because I think he made me a little tougher. And having the background in other athletic events, I was a heptathlete prior to just being a pole vaulter. I was, throwing the shot, the javelin, running the 800, doing the 200, running the hurdles. So I had a pretty good background in athletics. And then coming from a ranching background, you have that strength and kind of that no fear attitude, being around, big animals that could step on you or push you over. And so it was just kind of a perfect opportunity for me to pick up the pole vault. And another great point that I'm going to make is I was 23 when I started pole vaulting. A lot of people think, to make it to the Olympics, you have to start when you're 3 years old, and that's all you do is focus on that one event. And I think because of my well-rounded background, I was able to pick up the pole vault fairly quickly and excel at it and give me a berth on the Olympic team and then win a gold medal. So that's kind of the story in itself. But then just having a lot of dedication and the focus of going to practice every day, knowing what I needed to do. My coach was a huge part of my success. I mean, he planned my workouts. He was just much involved in my training. When I had a bad day, he had a bad day. And he would go just, couldn't sleep over it. And there'd been a couple times where he'd even come to my house and just say, gosh, I know today wasn't great. Was it something that I did? I mean, he would take it as much as hard as I did. And so I knew he was invested. And so to be able to work with somebody that you knew that was that dedicated, you wanted to make sure that you were doing your part. And so it was a team effort for me. I don't take all the credit. I really give my coach a lot of credit for all the work and sacrifice that he gave on his part, neglecting his family at times to be at my practices or to be overseas at competitions for, weeks at a time when he can be home, watching and raising his kids. I felt a little bit of selfish at times. So kind of that and just being goal-oriented. Dave and I would sit down every year and he would let me kind of draw out my goals, what I thought I could obtain. He'd always want me to write out a dream goal and, a yearly goal and a monthly goal. And so it really made me be accountable to what I was trying to achieve and then to be able to actually achieve those things pretty much on a yearly basis. There'd be days, and weeks where maybe I'd be injured a little bit and I'd have to have a setback, but we always had a road plan of where we were trying to go. And sometimes there were detours on, okay, maybe, 3 days we have to really focus on just getting Stacy healthy or she needs to rest, and then we're back on the road. So that really helped me keep focused and then just kind of keep an eye on that end goal for that year, that season. And it was really accurate for us. I mean, there would be times where I'd be off a little bit, but for the most part, I was able to achieve a lot of things. And when I work with young kids now, I really feel like a lot of kids don't have goals. And so they're just kind of out there doing stuff, but really not having a purpose. And I think if they could really, give themselves some short-term goals and long-term goals, I think they'd have a better understanding of where they're trying to go and what they're trying to achieve. And it's just accountability for themselves. And I think for me, I would always tell reporters, reporters would always ask, how high do you think you can jump? And it wasn't me trying to be arrogant. I just wanted this certain goal. And I said, I really think that I could achieve this. I always felt that I could jump 16 feet. And, there'd always be something we'd be working on in the fall of each year trying to achieve that correct something that, wasn't that great the year before, or just trying to readjust the goals. And so, my NPR is 15, 10, and 3/4 inch, and I've taken, I think, 4 or 5 different shots at the 16-foot bar. So it was right there. I didn't quite get it, but, that was just right over the hill for me. And so that was fun and frustrating all in itself.
Sure. And I mean, if you don't give the mind a target, you'll never hit it.
Exactly. I think if you fear it and you can't say it, then I think it's really hard for anybody to achieve it, And it was kind of scary to put it out there at first, but then I owned it, and I went to practice every day to, correct the flaws that I had in my jump, or just know that I had to train, because my competitors in Russia and Poland and even here in the United States, they're not just sitting there, waiting for something to happen. They're trying to, knock me off my pedestal. So I always felt like I always had to go and work, harder, and make sure that when I left the track that day, I was satisfied with my workout, and I gave it my all.
Stacy, if someone were sitting on the fence about attending a summit like the Great Plains Summit for the young professionals here, what would Stacy Dragila's advice to them be?
I would say come, because if you just learn one thing, that's just going to move you ahead in your choices of, whether it's choosing a certain job over another, or, preparing a resume properly to really catch the manager's eye, for your employment opportunity. Knowledge is powerful, and the more you have, the more you can do with it. Even, to hear my message or the other speaker's message of where we've come from, if they come and listen to my speech, it's just being driven and having goals and having passion for what you do. And to have a job to get that big paycheck and you don't have passion for it, I don't think that career is going to last. You have to find something that you really can own and take heart to, because you want to get up every day feeling excited about where you're going to work. I love training. I love sweating. I love going into the weight room after a hard, session out at the track. And it just gave me so much gratification. That was the hard work. And then I always felt like when I went to the track to compete, that's when I got to show off what I was doing that whole week. And, I had the gold medal, and I could have retired after winning the gold medal, but there was still stuff that was undone and, that I didn't achieve yet, that I just kept wanting to get better. And even the day that I left the track for, the last competition that I left, knowing that would probably be my last competition, there were still things that I was continually working on. And I didn't achieve everything, but I achieved a lot of things on that checklist for me in my pole vaulting career. Now I try to instill all those things into the kids that I'm coaching now. I coach privately, and I'm also coaching at a high school right now. And a lot of kids don't really realize the background that I've come from, and, the hard work and the sacrifice that I put in. I give a little bit every day to them, and you just see them getting better and better. And hopefully, they're just going to grow as an athlete and person as well. It's not always about being an athlete, it's just being a well-rounded person.
Tickets are still available for the 2013 Great Plains Young Professional Summit in Bismarck, North Dakota. It'll take place May 30th through June 1st at the National Energy Center for Excellence on the campus of Bismarck State College. The cost for all 3 days is $119, which includes meals and access to all of the agenda events. For more details and to register online, visit the site gpypsummit.com/registration.